exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on a Monday. I guess it's a victory Monday, right, here in the city of Jacksonville. The Jaguars go up to Nashville, Tennessee yesterday, get an emotional, come from behind 10-6 victory over the Tennessee Titans to improve their record to 3-10 on the year. It is a little bit of payback, I guess, in an interesting kind of way, as the Jaguars officially eliminated the Tennessee Titans from playoff competition yesterday with that win in Nashville, returning the favor, I suppose, from last January when the Titans did that to the Jaguars. But Jacksonville wins the game, 3-10 on the year. What does the win mean moving forward? Well, I got a lot of thoughts on that. We'll get to that in just a moment. Also, we have the official first 12-team college football playoff field. And it begins 1 week from Friday. This is not going to be a long, drawn-out process. Indiana and Notre Dame play in 11 days in the first playoff game in the round of 12. I'll go ahead and tell you, despite the fact that I get labeled as an SEC homer, despite the fact that I get labeled as an SEC apologist, which is all fine and well, maybe I've earned that over the years, I do think the committee made the right choice, taking SMU over Alabama. I think Alabama would beat SMU on a neutral site. But who was the more deserving team to go? I think it was SMU. So I have very little issue with that aspect of the playoff field. I have more of an issue with some of the other things in the playoff field, and we will get to that in just a moment. Guest lineup tonight, Monday Night Coaching with Campo. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He joins us every Monday here on Hacker After Dark, and tonight will be no exception. Also, towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour, my buddy Mike Huguenin. The man has covered college football for years. He is an absolute college football encyclopedia. And we'll talk to Mike about the playoff, and we'll also get some closing thoughts from him on the regular seasons of both Florida and Florida State. So we're absolutely jam-packed, Jacksonville. We are with you till 10 o'clock tonight. As always, we are glad you are with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Really two big deals of the night. One in the National Football League, one in the world of college football. We'll begin in the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a win, right? That's all I can say about it. I made this very clear last week, and I'm not going to change my tone now. The game yesterday, to me, went flawlessly up until about 90 seconds to go. I wanted to see great things from the young guys. We saw that with Brian Thomas Jr. and Jarian Jones and Mason Smith and Tank Bigsby. That was awesome. I wanted to see the Jaguars go up there and battle and compete. You saw that. I'm rooting for Mac Jones. I thought he played reasonably well in the second half. Everything was great up until the Jaguars stopping Tennessee with 90 seconds to go. Did I want the Jaguars to lose the game? No, I think that's probably too strong a verbiage. Would I have lost any sleep? Had Tennessee come back and won the game yesterday? No, I would not have. The bottom line is the Jaguars won a game yesterday, and what that means moving forward, it's a couple of things. Number one, with yesterday's win in Nashville, the Jaguars went from the first pick in the draft to the 5th pick in the draft. That's one aspect of what that win meant. And look, it's great anytime you beat the Titans. I like the fact the Jaguars were able to come back and find a way to get it done in the fourth quarter. There is merit to that. But reality is the Jaguars aren't going to the playoffs, and the Jaguars won a game yesterday that moved them from the first pick to the 5th pick in the NFL draft. But moreover, what did yesterday's win mean for the futures of general manager Trent Baalke and head coach Doug Peterson? Because I got to tell you something, man. They play an awful Jets team this Sunday. Then they go to Las Vegas and play an awful Raider team. And then that same awful Titan team they just beat yesterday comes here to Jacksonville. The Jaguars' next 3 opponents have a combined record of, 8 wins and 31 losses. 8 and 31. All right, is that right? 10. Yeah, 8 and 31. That is ridiculous. That is awful. And it would be very easy to see the Jaguars even run the table in the next 3 games. So here's my question to you, Jaguar fans. One that I've been pondering most of last night and most of today. One that I'll throw at you right now. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Mike Norvell was a dead man walking after the 2021 season in Tallahassee, but he survived. Billy Napier was a dead man walking at the end of September, just 2.5 months ago, but he survived. And now look at Norvell, and to a more extent, look at Napier now in their jobs currently in Tallahassee and Gainesville. Could the same thing happen here to Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke? Well, you beat Tennessee yesterday to get to 3-10. I'm telling you, man, I am telling you, if they beat the 3-10 New York Jets this week and then get wins over the 2-11 Raiders and the 3-10 Titans, and they get to 6, I'm very concerned, I guess would be a good word, that we're not going to see a lot of change here in Jacksonville. It's good to win games. And you say, Hacker, who cares about a draft pick? They don't draft well anyway. All right, there's merit to that, sure. And if you want to root for the Jaguars to win, absolutely. I'm not going to fault you for that. A lot of you are in that camp. But if you're rooting for them to win these last couple of games, and you're also rooting for there to be change at general manager and or head coach, I think you're going to have a conflict there. Because I get the vibe, I get the sense that if they win a couple of these games that are very winnable, I'm not so sure if we're going to see the drastic change that a lot of us want here in Jacksonville, Florida. So just remember, when you go into the Jets game this week, or you go into the Titans game in a couple of weeks, when they play the Raiders out in Vegas, they are playing some awful dog meat teams here in the next 3 weeks. And if you're rooting for them to win, that's fine. But in that same breath, if you're also rooting for there to be change at GM or head coach, I don't think both are going to happen. I get the sense, knowing Shad Khan and the loyalty aspect, keep in mind, Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke have won 9 games each of the last 2 years. If they get to 6 this year, that would be 24 victories over a 3-year stretch, averaging 8 wins a year. Shad Khan will have never seen that type of success. As sad as that is to say, he will never have seen that type of success in a 3-year period. Would he fire the 2 guys that are responsible for that? This could have been avoided had something happened after that fiasco in Detroit. After 52-6, nothing happened. And as a result of nothing happening then, if they win some games now, I get the sense again nothing will happen. But in a much more drastic change of tone for a lot of Jaguar fans than what happened after Detroit a few weeks ago. You thought it was going to happen at the end of the year, so you didn't care after Detroit. What if it doesn't happen again now if they string a couple of wins together? That is the question for you to ponder over these next 4 weeks of Jaguar football. In the college football game, quickly, the college football playoff, I have very little problem with SMU getting in over Alabama. Again, if the game is played on a neutral site, I would take Bama to beat SMU, but I think SMU was probably more deserving, or at least as deserving as Alabama. Couple of things really stick out, though, about what the committee did. Number one, I absolutely hate conference champions getting an automatic bye into the quarterfinals. I hate that. Boise State and Arizona State in no way, shape, or form should get byes into the quarterfinals. No way. I think if you win a conference championship, you deserve to get in the field. You deserve to be a playoff team, but you should not be given a bye just because you win a conference. The seeding in this is all jacked up. Oregon, the only undefeated team in college football that fought and scratched and clawed their way to 13-0, the last team standing with a 0 in the loss column. You know what their reward for that is? Playing either Ohio State or Tennessee in the quarterfinals. Whereas Penn State, who lost a couple of games, including to Oregon, gets to play a home game against SMU, and if they win that game, they get to play Boise State for a right to go to the semis. There is no way that Penn State, on paper, should have an easier path than Oregon, but they do, and it's really not even close. You look at Texas as a 5 seed, a team that lost twice. They get a home game against Clemson. Clemson wasn't even in the playoff field until the win on Saturday. And then Texas would get Arizona State in the quarters. Again, no way Texas should have an easier path than Oregon or certainly Georgia, who's beat them twice. Yet you could argue Texas has an easier path than Georgia. Because, again, Texas will have to play the extra game against Clemson. But if they win that, and they should, they get Arizona State in the quarters, whereas Georgia is likely to have to deal with Notre Dame in the quarters. The seeding on this is ridiculous. I like that it's a 12-team playoff. It's such an improvement over 4. But I don't like the way they're seeded. And I don't like the conference champion getting gifted an automatic bye. Because, again, the fact that Texas, Notre Dame, Ohio State, even Tennessee, the fact that they have to play in round 1 and that Boise State and Arizona State do not, I'm sorry, I think that's wrong. I think that's a flaw in the system. And we'll see what happens. But the playoff field is set. More on that. Mike Huguenin joins me at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Coming up next, back into the Jaguars. I'm going to ask Dave Campo what that win means for the future of Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson, what it means in losing out on some draft capital, potentially, with that win yesterday. And I can tell you, Dave Campo is a former head coach. Dave Campo has been a coach, a coordinator, an assistant in the NFL for years. He's not going to see eye to eye with me on this. Does he see eye to eye with you? Are you mad the Jaguars lost because of the draft issues? Are you mad the Jaguars lost because or the Jaguars won rather, because that might spell good news for Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson? There's a lot to unpack. We'll begin that process this week with Dave Campo. Monday Night Coaching with my man Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, joins me next on a Monday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark until 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Let's go. Game day gets here a little quicker with Pregame Friday.
Here we go.
Who's in, who's out, who's on upset watch.
Exactly.
We'll get you ready for the games.
All right, you ready?
Brought to you by Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
My name's Jim. I'm 53 years old. There should be options in life, like ways to lose weight. Medications now feel like the only option. I mean, it sounds like a guarantee. I do have friends who have lost weight with them. I tried holding off. I did other diets, but I was miserable. I'd rather be fat and happy. The problem was I wasn't happy fat. I was about to start the meds, but then I heard of Awaken 180's GLP-1 program. Turned out it does the same thing as the meds without injecting myself for life. It absolutely worked. I dropped 45 pounds. I'm now in maintenance, and I feel better than my friends who are still on the meds. Listen, I barely know what GLP-1 is. What I do know is Awaken 180 worked for me, and I was far from miserable doing it.
Thanks, Jim. You all know our success with Awaken 180, and now with Awaken 180's GLP-1 Balance, you address the root causes of weight issues. Do it naturally, then keep it off. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Hey, sports fans, Gibby here, and we are back to Monday Night Football tonight after another profitable betting weekend on MyBookie. If you didn't hit, well, you have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Dallas as 5.5-point favorites on Monday Night Football. We'll take that spread all day as the Bengals are actually good, and they are in a must-win scenario to stay in the playoff hunt. A high point total in this one with a 49.5-point over-under. Take a hard look at a parlay bet with the Bengals covering the 5.5 points and the under 49.5. Guys, MyBookie has the best sign-up bonus in the industry for Florida bettors. Our listeners can just sign up and use the promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. That's promo code 1010XL to claim your double deposit bonus from Monday Night Football. Bet anywhere, anytime, and make your season a winning season with MyBookie.
Hi, this is Jeff Norman.
And I'm Mike Jones.
And we are the owners of Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
With the holiday season upon us, we want to take a moment to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and say thank you to our amazing customers.
We're so grateful for the trust you place in us each year. It's been a pleasure serving you, and we hope you have a wonderful holiday season with family and friends.
And remember, if you have any issues, we'll be here to help throughout the holidays and beyond.
Merry Christmas from all of us at Duck Duck Rooter.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Walls. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show, presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning, 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
It's a game 80 years in the making. Join us for Thursday Night Football as we celebrate the 80th birthday of the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game. The SEC and ACC face off January 2nd at 7:30 on Bill Gay grounds at Everbank Stadium. Don't miss college football pageantry on display as we celebrate our 80th anniversary. Tickets and hospitality packages are on sale now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Get yours today.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing Scalp Micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
Truck drivers. Without them, our economy would stop. They're constantly racing against time, struggling against exhaustion, and being put under enormous pressure from their bosses, the big trucking companies. This can be a major reason for an accident. Discovering who's at fault can be difficult. We can help. Put our big truck experience to work for you. Call Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
It's the end of the year sale with Universal Roof and Contracting. Get 15% off all roof repairs and replacements, plus a $250 gift card for holiday shopping. With financing options as low as $150 a month, protecting your home's never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP, and this offer expires December 31st. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is a Monday evening, and we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars coming off a victory yesterday in Nashville over the Tennessee Titans. The Jaguars now 3-10 on the year, but anytime you beat the Titans, it's never a bad thing. And the New York Football Jets and Aaron Rodgers come into Jacksonville this Sunday. Let's talk about all of it with my friend Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. You hear him all over the 1010XL airwaves, including every Monday night right here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how we doing?
I'm doing great today, Hack. Listen, no matter what the record is, a win's a win, and I'm excited when we win. That's all there is to it.
It certainly beats the alternative, and there's a lot of aspects about the win that I want to talk to you about. But first and foremost, the Jaguars yesterday, trailing in the fourth quarter. We've seen that song and dance time after time after time where things don't go their way in the final 10 minutes. Things finally did go their way in the final 10 minutes in Nashville, which was a nice change.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, really, you can say whatever you want. I really felt that the defense at Tennessee was pretty darn good. And really, we put together three really good drives out of, I think, 9 or so, or 8. 3 good drives. And, you know, I thought we handled ourselves pretty good, especially in the second half, putting 2 together for a field goal and a touchdown.
Well, here, you know, I'm never going to be confused for a head coach like yourself or, you know, a football guy like Doug Peterson and Press Taylor are paid to be. But here's what I know. When you get Brian Thomas Jr. the football, good things tend to happen. And he did not have 1 catch in the first half. Miraculously, I think they probably figured that out because in the second half, he goes 8 for 86 and was vital on the game-winning touchdown drive.
Well, there's no question. I mean, you know, there's been a conjecture all year why they haven't gotten him the ball more, and some of it is that, you know, really once Kirk went down, I think teams started leaning on him a little bit, not always doubling him, but leaning his way. And also, he's a rookie, you know, trying to find himself. You know, he's still not great against the press, and that's something he's going to have to get better at. But there's been conjecture all year that we should have gotten him the ball more. And the interesting thing is the comment by Doug Peterson after the game where he made the comment, we made the adjustment to really try to get the ball to number 7 in the second half. I would have thought that would happen a while ago. But again, some of it is based on what's going on in the game and what defenses are doing. And I think he obviously, you get him the ball, some good things are going to happen, like you said.
Monday Night Coaching with Campo. My friend Dave Campo is with us every Monday here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, you and I have had many conversations about this. You were one of the first people that I heard talk about this way back this offseason. Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. And yesterday it was clear, both guys healthy, 22 carries for those two running backs combined. Bigsby got 18 of those 22 carries. Clearly, Coach, he was RB1 yesterday.
Well, I really think, and again, you're right. I mean, we've talked about it before. I've really felt that the one thing about, if Bigsby doesn't turn the ball over, which he's really gotten better at, there's no question about it, he's the better pure runner. He's got really good vision. He's got jump cut ability. And, he's one of the best in the league, if not the best, with yards after contact. So there's no question that, to me, he's the better running back. Now, they have a good combination. I mean, I like Etienne because there's times, he kind of runs straight, and if there's any kind of hole, he hits it pretty quick. He's got really good speed, and catching the ball out of the backfield, he's dangerous when he's in the open field because of his ability, his speed. So those combinations are pretty good. I think Bigsby's got a great opportunity to be a really good back in this league. Again, he's only second-year player, so to me, he's a keeper for sure.
No, I agree. I like both of them. This is not an anti-Travis Etienne sentiment. I mean, you saw it yesterday. He had 4 catches for 50 yards. I love that. And I think he had his 4 carries. He got like 20-plus yards. He was averaging like 5 yards a carry on the ground. Again, that's terrific production. But he only touched the ball 8 times. I'd like to see Etienne get a couple of more touches than that. But clearly, Bigsby was their primary ball handler yesterday. The starting quarterback was Mac Jones. He's obviously in for the injured Trevor Lawrence. Quite the opportunity, Coach, for Mac Jones to rejuvenate his career, try to become the next, Sam Darnold, if you will. What was your assessment on Mac Jones's performance yesterday in Nashville?
Well, I think he's getting a little better. I think with, his ability to take practice reps and, get the first team reps. And, he's going to get better as the season goes on because he's not a bust as a quarterback. When I say he's not a bust, he probably is in relation to where he got drafted. But overall, he's capable of making plays in the league. He's an outstanding backup. But even the backups need a little reps, and he's gotten that. I think yesterday, the only knock on him, obviously, he didn't rate very well because of the 2 interceptions, but, every once in a while he tries to do too much, and that's something that gets better with more opportunities. And so, I thought he had a good game. He really got the ball where he wanted to get it, and really he made 2 plays that really were big in the ball game. One, a scramble to Etienne for a big play, and one on a scramble to number 7, Thomas, for 31 yards in the game-winning drive.
Couple of more for the head coach, Dave Campo. He's with us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, let's go to your bread and butter, the defensive side of the ball. They held the Titans out of the end zone yesterday, only giving up a couple of field goals. It was a very good day for the defense and a very good day for the young guys, right? Ventrell Miller was doing his thing. Mason Smith, Coach, you actually noticed 94 out there doing some things, but clearly to me the star of the younger players was Jarian Jones. That guy might have had his best game as a Jaguar yesterday.
Yeah, no question. I mean, they had a good defensive performance. I really thought going into the ball game that their defense was a lot better than ours, which I still believe, during the total body of work. But I thought we handled ourselves very well. Number one, as a defense, we had a 3-and-out sudden change after the first interception. And then, that goal line stand, which was helped obviously by the penalty, but hey, that's part of the game. Keeping them out of the end zone was big in the ball game. As far as the young guys are concerned, Jarian, I think, really has been kind of up and down during the season as far as making some mistakes that maybe hurt us during the course of the year. But yesterday, by far, was his best game, and he's got athletic ability. I love his attitude. I love his enthusiasm, his energy. So I think he's going to be pretty darn good. And it was good to see Mason out there. I don't know what the situation has been. You know, he's had an ankle, but he's been healthy scratch, apparently, going along the way here. Again, I think he's got talent. He's big. He's got pretty good speed. And I think he showed some things yesterday.
Coach, the Andre Cisco thing is interesting. Look, on the surface, it looks like he was benched, right? Because he didn't go out there, I believe, for the first two series. Now, he got in there towards the end of the game. But he's a free agent after this season. I remember all the talk this offseason was all the extensions that were handed out to Campbell and obviously Trevor and all these guys that are due. Walker Little just got one. Cisco is the guy that hasn't gotten one, and you got to wonder if he only has 4 games left as a Jaguar.
Well, you have to say that he's been a little underwhelming during the season, you know, especially for what the expectations were. And I was one of the ones that had some expectations for him because, you know, the guy had ability to go get the football. He seemed like a pretty smart guy. You know, I thought there's something there, you know, his ability to go get the football. And he hasn't done that this year. And yesterday was another example where he dropped an interception that I think I could have caught. Probably I'm being a little bit positive on me, but at the same time, it should have been caught. So, you know, there's some concern there. And really, this is the time where you're going to see those young players in the game. You know, 26 started the ball game at safety. He struggled, but as a rookie, he struggled. So for me, I think he's a guy that probably is going to be in the future. I'm not sure Cisco is.
Final moments for the head coach, Dave Campo. It's always Monday Night Coaching with Campo right here on Hacker After Dark. All right, Coach, I want to spend the time we have left with 2 topics that come out of yesterday's win. And you and I had a healthy conversation on the 5th quarter about it because, you know, whether you call it the fan perspective, the fan/media perspective, there is that one, and then there is that of a former head coach, a guy that's been in the league like you have for decades as a coordinator, an assistant, and at the very top as a head coach of America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. 2 issues. We'll begin with the draft situation. The Jaguars win a game in December yesterday at 2-10 to get to 3-10, and in winning said game, they drop from the number 1 pick in the draft to the 5th pick in the draft. There's no doubt that fans at least noticed that they lost that many draft picks or that draft capital with that win yesterday. What would be your message to the fan base about that?
Well, first of all, you know my feeling on number 1 picks. Obviously, probably there's only about 18 guys somewhere in that neighborhood that you would say if you pick them, they probably should show immediately what they can do. And that's, you know, that's one conjecture. If you've got the number 1 pick and there's not a top-ranked quarterback and you need one, that's where, you know, there should be concern. But for me, if you're picking in the top 10, and again, you have to make the right picks. So that comes into play. But if you're in the top 10 in picks, you're going to get a pretty darn good player. And you're probably going to get one that probably is not a quarterback. And that's where we sit. You know, and we're probably, and again, you don't know what we're going to do in these last 4 ball games, but we're probably going to be in the top 10. So I'm not concerned at all with that. I would say that the fans are probably even more concerned about us winning some games down the stretch, and maybe there not being any changes.
And that leads us into this. And I think you have a very interesting take on this. You have a much different take than most, but your take resonates a lot more because, again, you've been around this league for decades. So you are a voice that people listen to. There is a common perception among many listening tonight that change is inevitable at the head coach and or general manager position here in Jacksonville. You don't necessarily believe that, correct?
Well, my feeling is this, and having worked with Jerry Jones, you know, I was pretty darn close to a billionaire owner. And billionaire owners do not like to be told what to do. I can promise you that. And so my feeling is that Shad Khan, the decision is going to be made by Shad Khan. And again, I don't know what the relationships are with those guys on a personal basis. But number one, when the fans start to turn on you, you have to make a decision. And I think that the fans and the media probably are correct in saying, you know, this has been kind of a dumpster fire, 4 wins in the last 19 games. That I don't blame people for being a concern there, but there's more to it than that. Who's out there? Who can you get? I think the biggest thing to me is knowing Jerry Jones the way I do, and if Shad's like that, he would like to say, I don't care what you say, I made the right decision, and I'm sticking with it. 2 winning seasons in the last 3 years, rough in the last 18 games, but, this franchise has been dysfunctional for a while. So I just don't know. I don't know. There could be changes at the top, but I'm just not 100% sure that that's going to happen.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, their schedule down the stretch, they play some awful teams. So you could very easily see Jacksonville winning this Sunday against an awful Jets team. Then they go play an awful Raiders team. Then they have that same awful Titans team. I mean, it is not out of the realm of possibility that they could rattle off 2 or 3 in a row here, which would obviously, I guess, help the cause of Balky and Peterson. That's why people were screaming from the rooftops after the Detroit fiasco to do something then, so this wouldn't be a scenario. But moreover, and I'll give my friend Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 credit for this, he brought it up with me earlier today, is that if they get, they've already surpassed that, but imagine they get to 5 or even 6 wins, right? Let's say they get to 6. That would be 24 victories in a 3-year stretch, which would be the most wins that Shad Khan's ever had as owner in a 3-year stretch. So would he feel some sort of loyalty to Balky and Peterson over that?
Yeah, again, I think we've said it all, and he's said it all. The gentleman you just talked about. There's a lot of things involved in that decision. And again, when you make wholesale changes, it takes a while, to see the results of that. And I still look at some of the guys that you mentioned last night on the 5th quarter. Some of these young players that really have a chance to have a future. And when you look back, this league is a parity league. You can say that for sure. And there's going to be a lot of close games. So you can't just say, well, they had 7 games they lost in the last, minutes of the ball game and by 1 score. But at the same time, that does mean something. If you look back at our season, we could have won 3 or 4 of those games, and all of a sudden we're not talking about this, and we'd be happy with guys like Strange and Bigsby and some of these younger guys, Jurian, whoever it is, and especially Thomas. So there's a lot of things involved there, and you just don't know what's going to happen here down the stretch.
Coach, final question, 90 seconds left. The Jets come in on Sunday. They're 3-10. Aaron Rodgers probably playing out the stretch during his time in New York. Jaguars are at home, throwback uniforms again. It's obviously not far-fetched at all to believe Jacksonville should probably win this game on Sunday.
Well, I don't know if it's a probably, but I look at this game very similar to the one we just looked at. I think offensively, we're about the same. We're doing it with a backup quarterback now. They're doing it with Aaron Rodgers. So, he could probably go off at any time. He's probably GOAT number 2 over the last few years, or 3 maybe. But defensively, they are much better than we are. And that's exactly the way I felt about the Titans. So I think the game is going to come down to how well we play defense, to be perfectly honest with you. And offensively, we've got to take advantage when we have opportunities to make some plays in order to win the football game. I think it's going to be just like this last ball game. It's going to be a barn burner, and the team that does it in the fourth quarter is going to win.
You get the head coach every Monday here on Hacker After Dark, my friend Dave Campo, and 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Jets go final this Sunday, the head coach, myself, and the Pro Bowler Leon Searcy will have another edition of the fifth quarter for you right here on 1010XL. Coach, have a fantastic week. I'll see you Sunday, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yep, I will, and happy holidays to you and your family.
We can't wait to get game day underway, so we get started 5 hours before kickoff.
I can't pass that up.
It's the Terminix Kickoff Show, live from Tailgaters Parking, brought to you by Gatorade and Clearwater Irrigation.
Thank you.
On 1010XL.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T, and I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help. And I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Bueller Air & Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida. It's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air & Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey folks, Dave Binion with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
We heard you loud and clear, Jags fans, and we're taking it back to the 90s again. The Prowler throwback jerseys return to the field Sunday, December 15th, when your Jaguars take on the New York Jets. Be at the bank to see them in action while joining us for our Inspire Change game. To lock in your seats, head to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
The Army-Navy Game Watch Party, presented by the City of Jacksonville Military Affairs and Veterans Department on some of the world's largest screens. With free parking, requesting $5 entry donation. Gates open at 2 for the Army-Navy Game Watch Party at Everbank Stadium.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
The 5-Star Veterans Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveteranscenter.org.
Her Song is a nonprofit organization that breaks the cycle of human trafficking through survivor care, victim outreach, and education. Find out how you can help at hersong.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Brotherhood of Rock. Now they celebrate 25 years. Sticks. Kevin Cronin, former lead singer of REO Speedwagon. Special guest Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles. June 2nd, Daly's Place. Tickets on sale Friday, December 13th at Ticketmaster.com. Sticks. Kevin Cronin, Don Felder. Brotherhood of Rock.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, visit AA Automotive on Richard Street. For oil changes to complex repairs, AA Automotive is a full-service repair shop for personal and commercial fleet vehicles. Trust AA to keep your ride running A-OK.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us on Monday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. Speaking of Monday Night Football going on right now. Two teams that are just clinging to postseason life by a thread. I don't even know if I'd say Cincinnati is. They're 4-8. They're not going to make the playoffs unless they win out and get some help. Dallas at 5-7. If they win tonight to get to 6-7, could make it at least interesting in the NFC for the next couple of weeks. 7-7 into the first quarter. CeeDee Lamb, a touchdown catch for Dallas. Jamar Chase, a touchdown catch for the Cincinnati Bengals. But 7 apiece, Bengals and Cowboys into the first quarter on Monday Night Football. A couple of things. I want to get into the world of college football in a moment. Mike Huguenin, man's covered college football for years, for numerous outlets. He joins me in less than 15 minutes to recap the playoff field. We'll also talk a little Florida and Florida State. So, on the rare occasion that the Jaguars actually win a football game, because it's only happened 4 times in the last 19 games they've played dating back to last year. But on the rare occasion the Jaguars win a game, I kind of like to listen to the other market the next morning. So this morning I was listening to our friends at 104.5 The Zone in Nashville, just kind of getting their vibe on what happened. I listened to my guy Tyler Rowland, the host of the Locked On Titans podcast that I have on. Also Brad Steele, the Two Tone Talk podcast. All these Titan guys that I have on pretty regularly. My gracious, Denmark, it was like a funeral, man. They could not believe that the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars went in there and beat Tennessee. Called it one of the worst losses, one of the most embarrassing losses ever at Nissan Stadium, to lose to the worst team in football with their backup quarterback. So Jacksonville broke Titans media last night and this morning. If you can take solace in anything, amidst this 3-10 disaster of a football season here in Jacksonville is that you broke Titans media yesterday because they are searching for answers. And I got to tell you, Denmark, I don't think he's going to be one and done. But man alive, Brian Callahan was getting annihilated this morning on radio, on podcasts. They are not happy with the first-year head coach there in Nashville. Again, I cannot imagine they would fire him after 1 year. But I would tend to think, based on what I heard this morning, that Brian Callahan probably will be on a hot seat entering 2025 there with the Titans.
Well, when you don't have a quarterback, you can't win games. It's pretty simple as that. And Will Levis isn't the guy. I never believed in him. I never understood why he was getting first and second round grades coming out of college. And
so you've already seen enough of him. You're done with him.
Yeah. I mean, what is, I don't remember anything when him showed in college or what he's done so far where you see something where you can see him moving forward where he can be a good quarterback. You draft somebody in the draft. Hopefully you get a top 5 pick. Shador's probably going 1 to maybe the Giants, and you get a second guy, and you just hope you get lucky. I think that's the plan if you're the Titans.
I started doing draft talk with a couple of guys today, just kind of getting the vibe out there. It's Shador and it's Cam Ward, and those to me are the only 2 quarterbacks that have a chance of going in the top half of the first round.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cam Ward's definitely he definitely should be behind Shador. And this is not a good draft class, so it's going to be your 2 quarterbacks, Travis Hunter, a couple of good tackles, LSU's Will Campbell, and I think, like I heard this morning, Tony Smith was talking off the air that this draft class has projected like 14 guys with a first-round grade. I don't know, I'm sure that'll change as the months go by, but not a good draft. So, the top 5 picks are going to be highly coveted in April.
I remember last year, it's not a good draft at the top of the draft, but I remember last year, like the Jaguars were one of the teams that accumulated picks. Remember, they got a 3rd and a 4th for Minnesota for the 2025 draft. A lot of other teams accumulated draft picks. This draft is not top-heavy, meaning there's not a lot of great guys, 1 to 20. There's probably, like you said, 13 or 14 first-round grades. But I've been told this draft is deep. Like a 5th rounder this year would have been like a 3rd rounder last year.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with the NCAA giving all these guys an extra year of COVID. And, I mean, how many guys in college football now are 22, 23, 24 years old?
Yeah. So
there's a lot that has to do with that.
And that's the good that the Jaguars, I believe, have 10 picks, right? 10 or 11 even picks in this draft. They have 1 first, 1 second, 2 thirds, 2 fourths. I think they got a couple of 6s as well. So they've stockpiled draft picks for what does appear to be a very deep draft. And my thing with the losing of the draft pick yesterday after the win, and look, I mean, who knows what's going to happen over these next 4 games, but with the win yesterday in Nashville, the Jaguars went from the 1st pick to the 5th pick. Travis Hunter is the big story there. I never wanted to take that 1st pick. I never wanted that to actually use it. I wanted the number 1 pick for 2 reasons. Number 1, I thought it would make the job more appealing to prospective coaches to have the number 1 selection in the draft. And number 2, I wanted to hold it ransom to a team like the Giants or the Raiders, even if the Giants are 2, if they want to trade up to 1 to ensure that they get Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, or whomever. Maybe they give you their 2nd and 3rd this year and a 2nd next year or something like that. You could have stockpiled even more picks. Winning that game yesterday kind of complicates that because the Jaguars now are not picking 1 anymore. They're picking at number 5. So we'll do more on the NFL. We'll do more on the Jaguars coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. I do want to shift gears to the college game. The 12-team college football playoff field is set. SMU gets in over Alabama. Did the committee get it right? What do we like about the 12-team scenario? What don't we like? All points in between. And let's talk a little Florida and Florida State. By the way, The Gators, if you didn't see this, got some terrific news earlier this afternoon. Caleb Banks, who was darn near unblockable the last month of the year on that Florida defensive line, has already announced that he's bypassing the NFL draft. He's coming back to Florida for his senior year. That was a very big surprise to me, but a very big positive development for the Gators. Getting a guy that probably had a second or at worst a third round NFL draft grade on him to come back for his senior year. Big get for Billy Napier in Florida with Caleb Banks announcing he's coming back in 2025. Let's talk about all of it with Mike Huguenin. The man's covered college football for many different outlets for years, and he joins me next. The college football encyclopedia. That is Mike Huguenin right here on Hacker After Dark on a Monday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
If offense and defense don't win the game, sometimes it's up to the special team.
And here comes the field goal team. They've got to hurry.
After the game, catch the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. It's been an incredible journey, man. 9 months and counting. 9 months ago. You know, it's funny. You see photos from like last Christmas. They pop up on your social media feed. You did this a year ago, that sort of thing. I look at a picture of myself from last Christmas, or even a picture from myself from the Super Bowl party I was at just in February of this year, when I weighed 317 plus pounds. It's unfathomable to me. I could not believe what I looked like. Considering now I'm at 205, I'm down over 110 pounds. Thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss, the best weight loss program I've ever been on. Guys, if you need to lose weight like I did, and I needed to lose a ton of it, take it from somebody who's had his life changed by Awaken 180 and go to awaken180weightloss.com.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Deck the halls with pipes a-leaking, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la. Oh no! Don't let plumbing ruin your season, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la. Let's go!
Uh-oh. Got a clog or a leak messing with your holiday cheer? Call Duck Duck Rooter. We're the reindeer of repairs. Fast, reliable, and ready to slay your plumbing problems.
Fa-la-la-la-la-la-la. Hooray!
904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. We're flushing your worries away this holiday season.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do. It's what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 2854-LAW. 2854-LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses an AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you can be credit card debt-free. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLS, consumeraccess.org.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
When mice and rats show up in your space, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents, and they'll keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so do we. Don't live with a rodent problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
The Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa is the perfect place for indulging in a pampering spa treatment. This holiday season, give the gift of wellness with a gift card and take advantage of the spa's current promotion. With the purchase of a $75 gift card or more, guests get a credit towards a future service. With healing massages, revitalizing facial treatments, and more, a day at the Sawgrass Spa makes the perfect gift. Purchase in person at Sawgrass Spa during operating hours.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called The Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Hackers don't take the holidays off. Do you know if your data is safe? One attack could mean financial losses and damaged trust. Double-Check Cybersecurity protects your business 24/7 with AI-enhanced solutions. Stay secure. Visit doublecheck.com today.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Strength and resistance training are some of the best forms of exercise you can do to strengthen your muscles and improve your body composition. It may also lead to important improvements in metabolic health, meaning your blood sugar levels are easier to manage, and it also increases how many calories you burn at rest. The Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans recommends resistance training twice per week in addition to cardio training. Let's get fit, Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. We have our 12-team playoff field for the first time ever. Did the committee get it right? Well, there's certainly a lot of questions about that. And Florida and Florida State seasons have both come to an end, but already a lot of news. The Gators are going bowling, and they got a huge return announcement from defensive lineman Caleb Banks earlier today. Florida State already has a couple of brand new coordinators. Let's talk about all of it with Mike Huguenin. The man's covered the world of college football for years. I refer to him as the college football encyclopedia, and Mike is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Sort of bummed that the regular season's over, but there are playoff games to look forward to, and that should make for an interesting December and January.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think you and I might be the only two people on planet Earth that didn't enter the transfer portal today.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on social media as much as I am, Mike. It's every 10 seconds somebody's entering the portal. It officially opened today. It's wild out there.
Yeah, if your coach was fired, you could go in whenever you wanted. But, yeah, today is the official start. And I'll be honest, if you're a player who is pretty good, and you don't think you're being compensated well enough at your current school, there is absolutely no downside to saying I'm in the portal, because you can always remove yourself from the portal and go back, and if you're good, the school certainly will take you back. But this is the way of the world right now. Coaches have adapted for the most part, and Dabo Sweeney has not. But then again, I think if you ask Dabo, he's like, I don't need to. I'm in the playoff. We'll see if that continues. But the portal is going to be exceedingly busy. I keep waiting for the portal work to slow down on a yearly basis, but that ain't happening this year, that's for sure.
It is expected that Florida will be very active in the portal. Florida got some terrific news earlier today. Caleb Banks, projected, I've seen him as high as mid to late second rounder, early projections. No more projections needed as he announces he is coming back to Florida for his senior year. That's quite a get for the Gators in 2025.
Yeah, here's a guy who was nabbed out of the portal a couple years ago. And I think the presumption is, in the old days, it's fantastic. He loves his university. These days, when a guy like Banks comes back, it's, his bank account's going to get bigger. And, all more power to him. But that is a gigantic piece up front for Florida. I would argue now that they need to get another defensive tackle who can play right away. Instead of getting two of those kind of guys. So his return cannot be overstated in terms of importance to next year's defense.
Mike Hugan in here with us. Mike, every time I bring you in, I talk about how you've covered the game for a long time, and that's not radio shtick. You've seen a lot in your day. Have you ever seen a comeback like Billy Napier made from being a dead man walking at the end of September to now where he is in the minds of Gator fans?
Yeah, I think in this state it is sort of it's incredible in a way, because I think the consensus was when he will be fired. That after the Texas A&M game, not if. And now he's taken his team to a bowl game. They've won 7 games. They beat 2 teams back-to-back that were ranked at the time in LSU and Ole Miss. The recruiting class was better than it looked to be in October. They ended with a flourish. I still don't think it's a exceptional class by any stretch, but they got a couple guys who I expect to play major roles, frankly, next year. But he's the cat with 9 lives when it comes to Florida coaching. Harbaugh a couple years ago, Michigan wanted to fire him. He renegotiated his contract. I don't think Napier's renegotiating his contract, but it is a market turnaround from, frankly, late September when it appeared again. The only question about Billy Napier is when he will be fired, and here he is preparing for a bowl game.
It's a quick turnaround, Mike. The Gators play a bowl game a week from Friday against Tulane down in Tampa. It's one of those games where if you win, you're supposed to. If you lose, it's a big story because it's Tulane. So from that aspect, maybe not the best matchup for the Gators. What's your early thought on that game?
Well, the Tulane quarterback, Darian Mensah, is talented. He's a very good athlete. He is entering the portal. So I don't think he'll be playing. So it means Tulane's going to have a backup quarterback. Which Florida guys opt out? Plus, these early bowl games, it's in the middle of their transfer portal machinations for coaches. If you're Napier, are you more worried about, okay, we got a game to play, we got to get prepped, or are you looking ahead to next year, we got to fill these roster spots? And I'll be honest, I think every coach outside the playoff is more worried about filling roster spots than they are playing in a bowl game. So there's a lot on every coach's plate every single December. The idea that the early signing period has already come and gone. The portal opened today. You're preparing for a bowl game. A lot of coaches nationally are juggling about 60 or 70 plates right now. And you wonder if there's going to be some relief next year. Do you change the portal dates? I don't think you can. You can change the early signing period, and that would probably be a positive for coaches.
Mike, as far as guys with a lot on their plate, obviously Mike Norvell would fit into that criteria, coming off just an awful 2-10 season. He acted quick. He fired his coordinators with 2 weeks to go in the regular season, and now here we are. They already have 2 brand-new coordinators, and the headliner, of course, is Gus Malzahn, the new OC. What do you make of the new Seminole hires?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tony White, the new defensive coordinator. He's done some nice work at his previous stops. Malzahn is interesting for a lot of reasons. Obviously, he was a sitting head coach and evidently voluntarily gave that up, though I'm interested. Evidently, there's been some Freedom of Information Act requests that have gone into UCF and FSU. I'm still wondering if Malzahn did get some money from UCF to leave. He obviously needs a running quarterback to make his offense go. I'm not sure Luke Kromenhoek is that guy. And plus Luke Kromenhoek has not played a heck of a lot of quarterback in his life. I think Malzahn and Norvell and the rest of the offensive staff are going to have to go get at least, or they're going to have to get a transfer portal quarterback. I would argue they also need a transfer portal wide receiver and 4 or 5 transfer portal linemen. I don't think if you're an FSU fan, you want to hear Norvell say, we're only bringing in 1 offensive lineman from the portal. We're going to run it back with a lot of these guys who were backups last year. No, plus that's not going to happen. There's going to be a handful of new offensive linemen, and I would think the key would be FSU's got to find at least 3 who are plug-and-play guys in terms of they can start right away, and maybe 1 or 2 others who can be swing guys, potential starters, at the least solid backups. But the problem with FSU this year, they did not have good starters and they did not have good backups. Now, some of those guys were young, some of the backups, and maybe they get better under a new offensive line coach. But that position is a flashing red light for Florida State. That's a position that has to improve and improve greatly.
A couple of more from Mike Huguenin. Florida State not going bowling. Florida is. Miami. Boy, life comes at you pretty quick, right? They go from maybe going to the playoff to losing to Syracuse, and now they're going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl against Iowa State, which is pretty wild. That brings me to the playoff, Mike. Big question nationally, one I'm sure you've been asked a lot already today. Did the committee get it right choosing SMU over Alabama?
Yeah, I got zero problem with that. SMU played in its conference title game. It was the only league team in the ACC to finish the regular season unscathed. The committee had said, I think, cryptically and obviously that we're not going to punish teams for losing in their conference title game. And, I know Alabama, they got some nice wins. They also lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, 2 teams that finished 6-6, and the Oklahoma loss was egregious. They lost by 21 to a team that threw for 68 yards on them. So yes, Alabama's got the brand name. They have a phenomenal history, obviously, but to me, that was mostly what they were banking on, and I was a little bit irritated. Greg Burns fires off a text last night and says, this is going to make people reconsider who they play, SEC teams reconsider who they play in the non-conference portion of the schedule. If I'm Alabama, my non-conference schedule was Mercer, Western Kentucky, USF, and Wisconsin. Obviously, Alabama won all 4 of those games. Maybe Greg Burns' coach and his football team need to focus a little bit more on conference games, because the idea that Alabama's non-conference schedule was the reason they did not make the field was ridiculous. Was SMU's schedule as difficult as Alabama's? No. But SMU played 2 Power 4 teams in the non-conference. Both of theirs had winning records, unlike Alabama's Power 4 team. Plus, again, SMU didn't lose to 2 teams that finished 6-6.
There are some good things the committee did, Mike. There are some things that I'll have issue with. And look, 12-team playoff, I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I don't think it's going to be 12 teams for very long. I can see this thing expanding in a couple of years. But first and foremost, I hope this is a 1 year off on this. Just because you win a conference championship does not mean you should get a bye. The fact that Boise State and Arizona State have byes, Mike, to me, I have issue with that. What about you?
Yeah, I think that was sort of a sop to the ACC and Big 12, and it didn't even help the ACC. So given the power of Petiti and Sankey, the commissioners of the Big 10 and SEC, my assumption is that will be done away with. It will be the ranking will be the field, except that I think if you're the top 5 ranked conference champs, I have no problem with them getting automatic bids. But I think the idea that the top 4 conference champs become the top 4 seeds, that part's going to change. I also think it's going to go to 16 teams sooner rather than later. So instead of Lane Kiffin whining about, how could you let us out? Keep us out. You're going to have the 17th and 18th place coaches whining about that. But I think the reason they're going to go to 16 soon is there's that much more money on the table. And if you're the Big 10 in the SEC, you're realizing a bulk of that money is going to you. So yes, it will be increased, the size of the field, sooner rather than later.
Final moments with Mike Hugan, and I totally agree that the conference champions should get an automatic bid. They should not be seeded 1 to 4. I agree with you there. And a prime example of that is Oregon. I mean, Mike, Oregon's the only undefeated team left in college football. They fought, they scratched, and they clawed to 13-0. And their reward for that is the winner of Tennessee, Ohio State, whereas Penn State, who Oregon just beat, gets a home game against SMU, and then we'll get Boise State in the quarters. I mean, Penn State's got a much easier path to the semis than Oregon, and to me, that's pretty unfair.
It looks easier, and I think that's the thing. I mean, you look at Alabama's schedule before the season. Oh, Vanderbilt, that's an easy win, and 90% of the stadium will be Tide fans. So, but that's part of the reason I think that the first round buys are going to be changed next year. And when it goes to 16 teams, there will be no first round buys. I would hope that when they do go to 16, all first round games will be played on campuses, but who knows with that. But I think the 12-team playoff made November a heck of a lot more interesting. There was a heck of a lot more teams involved, a heck of a lot more fan bases involved, a heck of a lot more important games. Like the Big 12 championship game on Saturday, that was interesting. I mean, in the old 14 playoff, who cares? But because the champ was getting in, it made for interesting viewing. And I think a lot of people who had never seen Cameron Scatterboo tuned in and went, "Oh my God, this guy's unbelievable," and he is. So, but the playoff, I think it is going to be entertaining. A heck of a lot more fun than the 4-team playoff. But if you look at the FCS playoffs, and we're already to the quarterfinals there have been a heck of a lot of blowouts in the early rounds. I think that's a possibility in the quote-unquote regular playoff as well.
Mike, leave us with this. Final question. I mean, hard to believe these games are next week, right? The first-round games. The first one's a week from Friday. Boy, I got some Indiana buddies that are salivating at the idea of playing Notre Dame. For whatever reason, those teams don't play very often on the gridiron, it being in the same state, and the fact that they're going to lead off the playoff in South Bend is wild. Obviously, it looks like Tennessee-Ohio State is the marquee matchup. I actually really like that Clemson-Texas game. And then I don't know what to make of SMU-Penn State, only that you would expect Penn State to win that game. What's your takeaway on the first-round games beginning next week?
Well, one thing about the Big Ten, they've always said, postseason games, make some of these southern teams come up here and play in cold weather. SMU, obviously, a team located in Dallas, going to State College, Pennsylvania. The Vols playing in Columbus. The weather is going to be a little bit colder than SMU and Texas are familiar with. Indiana, to me, I mean, that is a phenomenal story. This is a program that has been, let's get serious, garbage for much of its existence in football. It's a basketball first school, a basketball second school, a basketball third school, but Cignetti, the guy's got an enormous amount of swagger. I like watching Indiana play. Given Indiana's problems moving the ball against Ohio State, my presumption is they're going to have problems moving the ball against Notre Dame. But then again, Notre Dame lost at home to Northern Illinois. So I think that gives Indiana some hope. And Curtis Rourke is a better quarterback by a long way than Riley Leonard. I agree with you. The Tennessee-Ohio State game is the marquee one. And if Ryan Day loses that game, oh, my God, I'd hate to be Ryan Day. I actually think Texas will beat Clemson handily. And we're going to find out more about James Franklin because this counts as a big game. And James Franklin's nickname definitely is not Big Game James. So that's going to be that's SMU with absolutely nothing to lose. And Kevin Jennings is a fun quarterback to watch. I just don't think SMU will be able to stop Penn State's rushing attack.
Mike Hugan has covered the world of college football for years. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, always appreciate you, man. Have a happy holidays to you and your family, and we'll hopefully do it again maybe before the semifinal round in a couple of weeks.
Excellent. Appreciate it, young man. Thanks.
The weekly Pick'em contest.
Is this what I think it is?
Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park. Pick the worst. You'll still win some pizza, just not enough for a party. Flip a coin. Make your picks at 1010XL.com.
Hey gang, Dan Hicken here for America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 10 million active members. It's Prize Picks. First things first, download the app today and use code JAX, that's JAX, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download that app today, use code JAX, $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. How to play? All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, like, is Jared Goff going to throw for more than 230 passing yards? Will Saquon Barkley have more than 1 touchdown? Will Travis Kelce have less than 70 receiving yards? You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, which they usually do, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks also now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals. Prize Picks, run your game.
Follow Florida Gators men's basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators. The right talent.
The right attitude.
The right game plan. The right amount of fight, pride, and determination.
If you've been injured, put our force to work for you.
Farah and Farah, here for Jacksonville, here for good.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Get the latest on the Gators from one of the greatest Gators.
Touchdown, Gators!
Chris Doring joins Dan and Jeff on the drill Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Go Gators!
Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Come on, admit it. Almost everyone you know seems to be playing pickleball now, right? So whether you just want to learn how to play or you're ready to show off your elite pickleball skills, the Y is the place for you. Visit our brand new McGuire Family Pickleball Center at the Brown Family YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach. 5 top quality outdoor courts and 3 amazing indoor courts where you can learn about dinks, dill ball, falafel, the kitchen, and more pickleball slang at the Y.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Approaching halftime on Monday Night Football. Cincinnati 14-10 over the Dallas Cowboys. A couple of touchdown passes for Bengal quarterback Joe Burrow. Bengals 14, Dallas 10, getting close to halftime. Monday Night Football out there in Arlington, Texas. Coming up next here on Hacker After Dark, let's go to Orlando, Florida. My buddy Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel covers the Orlando Magic. One of the hottest teams in the NBA, but 2 just devastating injuries. We air a lot of Magic games on our station. I know the Magic are really picking up steam in Jacksonville. But boy, losing Paolo Banchero to a torn right oblique, which apparently is a rare basketball injury until you find out that Franz Wagner literally has the same injury as his all-star teammate in Orlando. What are the odds of that? Orlando has survived so far without Paolo. Can they survive without both Paolo and Franz now for the next couple of weeks, as both guys have torn right oblique muscles? That is a wild, crazy story. And yet, despite that, Orlando is still 17-9 on the year and 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. We'll talk a little NBA, we'll talk some Orlando Magic, and we'll talk a little Scott Frost going back to UCF. Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel joins me next. Monday night, Hacker After Dark. Glad you're with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
He may have started his career somewhere else, but he found his home in Duval.
Join me, Jeff Lageman, for Check to Take Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Jack's Napa Auto Care Group.com. Go to the pros Napa know-how on 1010XL.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here. And fellas, we all know that athletes train every day to perform better on the field, right? Well, what if you could enhance your performance in the bedroom? No training required. That's right. I'm talking about that secret weapon, Blue Chew. A chewable tablet with the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin that ships right to your door in a discreet package. No doctor visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's all online. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. They also have Daily Tad that contains 7 essential vitamins. And it's chewable too. And now you can try Blue Chew for the free ski. That's right, for free on me. Visit BlueChew.com and enter my promo code 1010XL. You only have to pay $5 for shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's promo code 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are aiming to sell 1,000 vehicles this December. How? I've told my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. With thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground, all priced to sell, we guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. This is the absolute last weekend. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
I'm Sawyer, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is the crispy chicken filet. The seasoning is so satisfying. It's what I needed, but I didn't know that I needed it. You get the toasted bun and the delicious crispy chicken. They add this fun mix with that zesty pickle. It's bold and tasty. I would give it an A+. What's not to love? The holidays are all about being together and eating together.
Sandwich and some together time this holiday. Order the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich today. Real guest paid for their testimonial.
Grinding out good grades can be just as challenging as winning games. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
Prosser here for Lifetime Flooring. You've heard us rave about Lifetime Enclosures. Now let's talk about Lifetime Flooring. I can tell you firsthand, the product, services, best in Jacksonville. As you know, updating your floors is one of the most dramatic changes you can make to your home. Call the experts at Lifetime Flooring now and ask about their buy one room, get one room free promotion through Christmas. 0% financing available to meet any budget. Visit their beautiful showroom just off Phillips Highway. And as always, tell them Prosser sent you.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting! Hey folks, Dave Binion with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. You know, we've been so caught up in the struggles of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You look on the NBA calendar, and the NBA calendar is already almost at the third mark of the season, right? Most teams have played somewhere around the 27, 28 game mark. The NBA Cup resumes this week, and Orlando will be involved in the quarterfinals of that NBA Cup. And Orlando, despite unbelievable injuries, which we will get into, is still among the top teams in the NBA as we talk right now. A man that covers the Orlando Magic for the Orlando Sentinel is Jason Beatty. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I was just on that recent 5-game road trip up in the Northeast, so it's good to be back in a little bit warmer weather in Orlando.
Yeah, I imagine. And it's been a wild season for the Magic. Just to catch people up, most people know about the Paolo Banchero injury, and he's been out since Halloween with a torn right oblique. Amazingly enough, Jason, what I've been told is a torn right oblique is a pretty rare injury for basketball players. So here we are some 40 days later, and the other all-star on the Magic, Franz Wagner, is now going to be out with a torn right oblique. I mean, that's Keystone Cop stuff, right? I mean, how is that even possible?
Yeah, it was pretty stunning when I learned of that when I was traveling back from Philadelphia. And, you know, it's just, you feel bad for Franz. I mean, you mentioned it, that he was playing at an all-star level. I mean, filling in already for Banchero, and just what the scoring output he was doing, the way he was playing on defense. I mean, he's one of those rare two-way guys that really shines on both ends. I mean, it wasn't just he was scoring a lot of points. He had 30 points in each of the last 3 games he played in. It was just, you know, you feel for Franz and the work he puts in and what he's done to that point, filling in for Banchero. But the fact that they have the same injury that, like you said, is correct. It's a rare injury. It's just really shocking and stunning. And but look, the Magic kind of grew used to it. Had been about 20 games without Paolo Banchero, and now they're going to have to adjust again without Franz. And they already got 1 win under their belt against Phoenix last night, but it's going to be a challenge moving forward. And it's just truly a remarkable situation in Orlando.
I mean, we'll get to the future and what that's going to hold for both guys in a moment, but I would have to imagine, you covering the Magic, you've probably had some interaction with some medical people down there about this. I mean, what are the odds that the 2 best players on the team get the same exact injury? I mean, that leads the mind to wonder, I guess, about the strength and conditioning staff down there with Orlando. I mean, that is just a wild scenario.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to speculate too much. I'm obviously not a doctor myself, but I did appreciate the way Franz Wagner handled it when we spoke with him pre-game about the injury for the first time before the Magic hosted the Phoenix Suns. He said flat out, it's no one's fault. I mean, you know, Jamal Mosley himself called it a bit of a fluke injury. It is unique in the fact that it happened to both star players, and it is a rare injury. But you know, look, Franz said it himself. There's no one to blame. This stuff just happens, and sometimes that's just how it works in sports. And they're, you know, both Paolo and Franz are mature players, and they're mature people, and you know, they're just going to focus on their recovery and getting back to the court as quickly as they can.
Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel covering the Orlando Magic. All right, despite all of these injuries, and by the way, we haven't even talked about Wendell Carter missing 12 games. Jonathan Isaac has missed time. Gary Harris has missed 2 weeks. Despite all that, at least to this point, it hasn't seemed to matter. I mean, they're 17-9. What a job by Jamal Mosley, the head coach, and what a testament to the depth on this roster.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Jamal Mosley, you know, will be in contention again for Coach of the Year. That's pretty clear, I think, to those, not just in Orlando, but around the NBA. It is pretty remarkable. You know, you look at other teams around the league that have dealt with injuries. A team that the Magic just faced, the 76ers, they haven't had Joel Embiid or Paul George much this season, and they only have a handful of wins. So for Orlando to really stick to its identity, that identity is defense under Jamal Mosley. They've pretty much gone about saying that if we're not going to score, neither are you. And, you know, of course, things are going to have to change a little bit. We even saw just briefly against Phoenix that, you know, they're going to play a little bit more up-tempo offense. The possessions are going to move a bit quicker without Franz. You know, it seemed to me that they were moving a bit faster. But with that said, it's going to come down to defense, and that's going to generate their offense and how they're going to continue to have success. And they've just been so good in the fourth quarter. They've been one of the best teams in the fourth quarter. And as long as this Orlando Magic team is in the game within the first three quarters and they can keep things close, you get to that fourth quarter, you have stoppers like Jalen Suggs and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Gogo Batadze. And you mentioned it, Jonathan Isaac's been out for the last couple of games. When those guys are on the court together and Anthony Black coming off the bench, it's hard to score against this team. So as long as they hang their hat on the defensive end, they force turnovers, they generate offense from their defense. It doesn't really matter who's on the court. They just seem to have bought in, going back to last year, in Jamal Mosley and his defensive mind system.
Jason, when Banchero got hurt, I was talking to Dante Marcatelli about this last week. I was about ready to take my 5-year-old trick-or-treating, and then I got the notification that Banchero on Halloween was going to be out. And it's just like, oh, my gosh. The long-suffering Magic fan. Are you kidding me? And that is not the verbiage that I used. And I thought at that point it was about survival, right? So here we are, 39 days. Not that I'm counting, Jason, but it's been 39 days since the Banchero injury. What are we thinking when it comes to Paolo? I mean, obviously, I don't know if this is going to try to speed up his recovery, the fact that Franz is out now as well. But when it comes to Banchero, when do you think realistically we could see him back on the court?
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago when Banchero sat down with ESPN. He told them that he believes he could be potentially back before Christmas. I spoke along with Magic on SI in Brooklyn just last week with Paolo about that, and he told us that recently on this 5-game road trip when we were all in New York that he was able to get on the court, do some extremely light work, some spot shooting, some ball handling. Jamal Mosley repeated kind of the same amount of work that he's done recently, that Paolo has done some ball handling, some light movement on the court. And as you know, the Magic aren't going to rush injuries in their recovery period. They're going to take their time with this. I don't necessarily view it as because Franz is now out, they're going to, push Paolo back even further. That doesn't really sound like something they're going to do. I mean, these guys are, obviously elite athletes and still really young, but they have their entire careers in front of them. So they're gonna think about the big picture, but they also understand that, Paolo has said that he's hungry. He's ready to be back, and it's just a matter. It still sounds like it's going to be a couple of weeks for Paolo specifically. He did tell us, like I said, he's done some ball handling, he's done some light shooting, but he's still not, he's not sprinting, he's not cutting, he's not obviously getting up and down the court a whole lot because it is a challenging injury. It's your core muscle area, it's your stomach area. It's not a shoulder or a knee. It really impacts just about everything you do when playing basketball. So, similarly with Franz, they're going to take their time with Paolo, and they're not going to rush things back. They're not going to push him too hard because it's an injury that really needs to take its time in healing. But he is starting that process of getting back on the court and doing some light work, which is obviously an encouraging sign. Mosley told us last night that he is continuing to respond well to the light work he's done so far.
Couple more for Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel covering the Orlando Magic. Jason, do you think it's realistic, New Year's certainly, in 3 weeks, that we could see Paolo back on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, based on everything we've said and what we've heard from Paolo and Jamal Mosley himself, certainly it does seem like that's possible. Initially the team gave a 4 to 6 week reevaluation period until that took place, and it's obviously been over a month. You mentioned we're almost approaching the 40-day mark since that initial diagnosis, so we should be getting some sort of official reevaluation from the team, maybe in the coming weeks. But we're going to continue to just see what he does on the court. And like I said before, the Magic aren't exactly a franchise. They're going to rush a guy back, let alone their franchise player in Paolo back to the court.
And the interesting thing, because it's the same exact injury, whether this is fair or not, Jason, people are going to see how long it takes Paolo from injury to when he gets back on the floor. And will that be roughly the same timetable we should expect for Wagner?
Yeah, it's interesting. When the team initially announced that Paolo had suffered the injury he had, they put it at 4 to 6 weeks in the official press release. If you actually read the official release on Franz's injury, which is the same, they put it at 4 weeks until a reevaluation. Obviously they're both 6'10" wings that are really versatile on both ends, really lengthy, but they are slightly different in their body types. Paolo's a bit of a bigger guy in terms of muscle and whatnot. Franz is a bit skinnier. So, again, I'm not going to speculate on exactly, the severity or whatnot. They're obviously both out for an extended period of time with their respective injuries. And I, it's so hard to compare players, even though you do hear the same right torn oblique. It's not exactly the same. These are different human beings that have, that put a lot towards their body. They work so hard on their body and their craft. And again, it's just an unfortunate situation, but it's going to be, at least 4 weeks until a reevaluation for Franz Wagner, regardless of whenever Paolo does return.
And the other two guys, Gary Harris and Jonathan Isaac, look, I mean, they're not Wagner and Banchero, but you get J.I. back, you get Gary Harris back, that would help, right? That would be some ointment on the wound. That would be a pretty decent Band-Aid. What can we expect when it comes to Gary Harris and Jonathan Isaac?
Yeah, I spoke with Gary at the end of that Philadelphia trip, and Jamal Mosley kind of reiterated the same thing with Gary, that he's continuing to respond to treatment well, and it does sound like his return could be sooner than later. Jonathan's situation is unique in the fact that when he first exited the game against Philadelphia, we feared for the worst, and he told us afterwards it was just leg cramps, but obviously it's not just leg cramps. He's dealing with a sore right hamstring, and obviously we know his injury history with his legs. They're going to, again, take his time and not rushing him back. But you are correct that, look, Gary Harris is a great sharpshooter when he is hitting threes and offers really perimeter defense that's strong and veteran leadership. And Jonathan Isaac is one of the best defenders in the league. So, their return will be welcome. It does seem like both those guys could be back in the fold sooner than later, especially with Gary. And again, they're going to take these things day by day and evaluate, and it'll be interesting to see. I do expect, though, that Jonathan and Gary will be back, within the week or two, I imagine. But again, they're going to take it day by day, and but based on what we've heard, it does sound like they're on their way back soon.
Final moments, Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel. All right, in the meantime, with all the injuries, we saw the game in Phoenix, or against Phoenix yesterday in Orlando. Jalen Suggs, man, he was the other guy that got the big contract. Boy, what a performance. And, whether it's him, Wendell Carter, Goga Batadze is a guy that Indiana just didn't want for some reason. And that guy had 21 and 16 last night. Again, maybe I have my magic blinders on here, but you talk about 1 to 14 as far as roster size. Not 1 to 5, but 1 to 14. I'm not sure there's a deeper team in the NBA than the Orlando Magic, and that's bearing out right now with all these injuries.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke earlier about, Jamal Mosley being coach of the year. I think you have to give credit to Jeff Weltman and the job the front office has done. I mean, it's not just about the player, but it's about the person as well. You talked to Goga Batadze. He told us last night he doesn't feel like he deserves to be in this situation. He was literally on waivers, and the Magic picked him up and gave him an opportunity. And in the offseason, he could have gotten more money elsewhere. That's something he's talked about. And he decided to come back to Orlando because he felt like he was indebted to the franchise. And, he's having so much fun out there. That's the biggest thing. These guys, you talk about Cole Anthony, who fell out of the rotation earlier this year, and he has 10 points in the first half last night. That was key to keeping them in that game, to allow Jalen Suggs to wake up late, to have him score 14 of the 26 points in the fourth quarter and have them have a chance. So, all this group, they're a really tight-knit group, and they're only going to grow even closer, which seems impossible, but it's going to be a really special time. And, even despite the unique circumstances, this is a special group that really loves each other, and that's kind of what's leading to their success on the court.
Jason, final question. You're around this team every day. You follow them as close as anybody. Realistically, last night was fun, right, beating Phoenix in that fashion. But realistically, it's about survival at this point until at least Paolo comes back, correct?
No, absolutely. And look, I think it's important to remember that the Suns didn't have Kevin Durant last night. They did have Brad Beal and Devin Booker, and they're still a talented team, and they're going through a bit of a lull without Kevin Durant right now. And they also lost in Miami the night before on the second night of a back-to-back. So the Magic had some advantage on the rest there. it's going to be a challenging game in Milwaukee with a trip to the semifinals in Vegas on the line for the NBA Cup. And they do have a tough stretch that includes Miami, that includes New York at home, that includes the defending champ Boston Celtics. So we're going to learn a lot about this group, and it's going to be creative in lineups and the rotations that Jamal Mosley is going to have to put together. It is going to be about survival at this point for sure.
Jason, leave us with this. Scott Frost back in Orlando with UCF, man. What's been the reaction down there in Central Florida about Scott Frost returning?
Feeling frosty, right? I mean, it's truly just a movie script story, right? It's really exciting to see him back. And I was around those teams, that 2017 team. It didn't feel like that was possible, at least as soon as it happened, that Scott could be back, and just puts life back into the program and brings the excitement back to UCF. And I think it's a great hire, and I'm excited to see what's next with Scott Frost's second stint at UCF.
It's a busy time in Orlando, no question. A lot of Magic, or the Magic are picking up a lot of fans anyway here in Jacksonville. And that's fine. If you want to come on the bandwagon, we will welcome you onto the bandwagon. We have absolutely no problem with that. Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel. Jason, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out, man. We'll do it again real soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
And thank you to Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark to talk NBA and the Orlando Magic, as the injuries with the Magic are absolutely insane. A torn right oblique for Paolo Banchero back on Halloween. We were told at that point how uncommon that injury is when it comes to basketball. And here we are 39 days later, and the other all-star caliber player on the Magic, Franz Wagner, has, you guessed it, a torn right oblique. Absolutely wild, just a crazy, unfortunate circumstance. And yet, despite all that, the Magic, who've played without Banchero for 6 weeks, are still 17-9 on the year, and in third place in the Eastern Conference, 26 games in. Hopefully, Paolo can come back in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Wagner, who just did the same injury that Banchero did, you would expect him back hopefully mid to late January would be my guess. And we'll see if Orlando can survive until both of their all-star caliber players return to the lineup. So we certainly spent some time on that, but primarily it was all about the college football playoff tonight. The 12-team playoff, the first ever 12-team college football playoff is set. I think the committee got it right, to be honest with you. I know I get accused of being an SEC homer all the time and SEC goggles and this, that, and the other, but I think SMU was the right choice. I think Alabama would have made for obviously a more compelling game against Penn State. I won't argue that point, but I think SMU probably deserved the nod over Alabama. And, you know, look, we'll see about it. A lot of issues with the committee. I don't like the fact that conference champions get the bye. There's no way Boise State and Arizona State should get a bye into the quarterfinals. I think conference champions deserve to get into the field, but not given a bye. To me, that's ridiculous. So there are some issues, but overall, the fact that we have a 12-team playoff, I'm not going to complain. I'm very excited about it. It begins next Friday. Very first game will be Indiana and Notre Dame there in the battle of the Hoosier State. And then also we spent a majority of the time tonight, obviously, on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They win the game yesterday in Nashville, beating the Tennessee Titans. What does that do to their draft stock? Well, it did drop them from the first pick to the 5th pick, as they currently sit right now with the win yesterday. And what does that win mean for the future of head coach Doug Peterson, general manager Trent Baalke, when you consider the Jaguars' remaining schedule are the 3-10 New York Jets, the 2-11 Las Vegas Raiders, the 3-10 Tennessee Titans, and a very average to below average Indianapolis Colts team. It's obviously not crazy to think the Jaguars could win 2 or 3 more games and get to the 5-6 win mark. And if they do that, boy, does that mean Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke return in 2025. I certainly think that is a conversation to have after the Jaguars winning that game in Nashville one day ago. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very busy Monday night here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel, talking NBA and Orlando Magic. Thank you to my buddy Mike Huguenin. The man has covered college football for years. He's an absolute college football encyclopedia. Always love talking with Mike as we reviewed the 12-team playoff field and put a cap, at least on the regular seasons, for both Florida and Florida State. And back in hour number one, my buddy Dave Campo. It's always Monday Night Coaching with Campo, the former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, joins me every Monday right here on Hacker After Dark. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.